Thank you very much. Good to see everybody. Welcome to the Ways and Means Conference Room. I've been on this committee for many, many years. I first came to Congress in 1987. I had more in my hair then, and I was a few pounds lighter. Probably you know from your reading that I grew up in rural Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery, outside of a little town called Troy. My father was a sharecropper, a tenant farmer. But in 1944, when I was 4 years old, and I do remember when I was 4, my father had saved $300 rather, and a man sold him 110 acres of land. We still own this land today. On this farm, we raised a lot of cotton, a lot of corn, lots of peanuts. I don't eat too many peanuts today. I ate so many peanuts when I was growing up. I just don't want to see no more peanuts. And don't tell the people in Georgia that I don't want to see no more peanuts, because we raised a lot of peanuts in Georgia. When I was a little boy growing up, about 6 or 7 years old, I fell in love with raising chickens. And I wanted to be a minister. So with the help of my brothers and sisters and my first cousins, we would gather all of our chickens together in a chicken yard, like we gather here in this room. And we would have church. I would preach to the chickens, and when I look back on it, some of these chickens would bow their heads, some of these chickens would shake their heads. They never quite said amen. But the chicken tended to listen to me much better than some of my colleagues listened to me today in the Congress. And some of those chickens were just a little more productive. At least they produce eggs. Growing up there, I would see the signs that said white men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. And I asked my mother, my father, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, why? That's the way it is. Don't get in the way, don't get in trouble. But I heard of Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when I was 15 years old. The action of Rosa Parks and Dr. King inspired me to find a way to get in trouble. I met Rosa Parks in 1957 when I was 17. The next year, at the age of 18, I met Martin Luther King Jr., and I have not looked back since. My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to say something, to do something. I tell my colleagues and I tell young people, in this week, almost the next weekend, I'm going to be delivering commencement addresses at 2 schools in Boston or Cambridge. Boston University, the school that Dr. King graduated from. He got his PhD, and also at Harvard, the law school that President Obama graduated from. And I'm going to appeal to the students to get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble, and to help make our country and help make our world a better place. So I've gone on for a while, so let me say to you again, you're welcome.
Congressman, before we start questions, I want to tell one story I have about you.
Yes.
One year when I brought my kids, we were in a room and we got there on time and we were sitting there waiting and you were late. And we waited for about a half an hour. You were really late, and it was an hour past. And finally you walked in the room and you said, "Sorry I'm late, I just got out of jail." Yeah. And you had been protesting in front of the embassy and gotten yourself arrested.
Yeah. South African embassy, maybe.
We have never been so proud to meet someone who is still exemplifying getting in the right and necessary kind of trouble.
Well, during the 60s, I was arrested in jail 40 times, and since I've been in Congress, another 5 times. And I'm probably going to get arrested again for something.
So let's go. Go ahead, Priyanka.
Hi, I'm Priyanka. In an interview with USA Today, you said, "I have an obligation to continue to do what I can because I'm still here to continue to tell the story." As the last speaker from March on Washington, can you talk about that obligation?
My obligation is to try to lead this little piece of real estate, this little planet that we call Earth, a little greener and a little cleaner and a little more peaceful for generation yet unborn. We have a right to know what is in the food we eat, what is in the water we drink, and what is in the air we breathe. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Noah. So in the 2008 interview with Mount Madonna, you said, "There comes a time when you see something that is so right and so necessary that you cannot turn back." Can you talk more about what it was like to have that feeling?
Well, I remember very, very well. On March 7, 1965, I was 25 years old, had all of my hair. We had been protesting in the little town of Selma, Alabama. People couldn't register to vote simply because of the color of their skin. There were black lawyers and doctors, college professors, high school principals and teachers told over and over again they could not read or write well enough to pass the so-called literacy test. On one occasion, a person was asked to count the number of bubbles on a bar of soap. Another person was asked to count the number of jelly beans in a jar. And we had a march that became known as Bloody Sunday. I was leading that march with a guy by the name of Jose Williams from Dr. King's organization. And the officer of the Alabama State Trooper said, "This is an unlawful march. You will not be allowed to continue. I give you 3 minutes to disperse and return to your homes or to your church." And Jose Williams said, "Major, give us a moment to kneel and pray." And the major said, "Troopers advance." And you saw these men putting on a gas mask. I said, "Major, may I have a word?" He said, "There will be no word." Came toward us, beating us with nightsticks, using tear gas, trampling us with horses. I was hit in the head, thought I was going to die. But I had to take a stand. We couldn't turn back. So there come a time when you have to take a stand. You may get hurt. You may get arrested again and go to jail. You may be left for dead, but somehow you're anchored and you cannot turn around or turn back. You're welcome.
Congressman, my name is Annika.
Yes?
As someone who has spent a lifetime dealing with civil and social changes, as you try to offer the torch to the next generations, what values do you want to pass on to keep that dream of equality alive?
Well, I spend a great deal of time with young people, with young children, much younger than any of you, young people in elementary school. I go to preschool, to kindergarten, and I get down on the floor with the children, and I tell them to never hate, and I paraphrase the word of Dr. King, "Never hate, for hate is too heavy a burden to bear." Tell them to love. Love is a better way. And respect everybody. Like they're your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, your aunt, your mother, your father. That we have to learn to live together. And we forget about race and lay down the burden of race. And create a society at peace with itself. There was a man by the name of A. Philip Randolph, who was born in Jacksonville, Florida, moved to New York City. He was the major planner of the March on Washington. And he was saying, maybe our forefathers and our foremothers all came to this land in different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And I think that is true today more than ever before. It doesn't matter whether we're black or white, Latino, Asian American, or Native American. We're one people, we're one family. My last arrest, my very last arrest, more than 2 years ago, a group of 8 Democratic members of Congress and 200 private citizens had a protest on the Capitol ground. We were trying to get the Speaker of the House, the former Speaker of the House, to bring forth a comprehensive immigration reform bill. If he had brought the bill forth, the Senate had passed it, the House failed to pass it, because it would never brought to the floor. But if it had passed, and it would have passed, because every Democratic member would have voted for it, maybe except one or two, and President Obama would have signed it into law. It doesn't make sense for hundreds and thousands of people, especially the dreamers who came here as children, little children, to be living in fear. And we need to set people on the path to citizenship. It's the right thing to do. When the Pope came and spoke to a joint session of the Congress, he said, we're all the immigrants. We all come from some other place.
Hello, I'm Elias. What do you believe is the best way we can maintain civil liberties and basic moral principles in our democracy in times of crisis?
Well, you have to, as young people, when you come of age, 18, and you can register and you can vote. You have to vote. In my estimation, in a democracy such as ours, the vote is the most powerful, nonviolent instrument or tool we have, and we have to use it. And we have to get involved in campaigns, helping people get elected, good people, wise people, strong people, men and women, people all different backgrounds, and get people in position, whether it's in the Congress or a local political position, people that represent all Americans. Why do people try to keep some people from registering and voting? It's powerful. It's powerful. And all of the people that were qualified to register and get out and vote, America would be different. It would be a little more humane. And we would be better as a nation and as a people. And fewer people will be left out and left behind. But there are people suffering today in all sections of this country because we tend to elect people who refuse to stand up. And there are many people that live in fear of not doing the right thing. Dr. King would say that a leader should be a headlight and not a taillight. And you shouldn't be afraid. Should be what he called a spark plug and not a firecracker. A firecracker just burn out, just go out. But a spark plug, you don't use many spark plugs in cars anymore, right? It just continue to take the long haul. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sumit, and I was wondering, are you hopeful in these times when things seem to be moving backwards?
That is a very good question. I am very hopeful. I am very hopeful, and I'm very optimistic. When I was growing up, people used to sing a song in church, like something, if I can remember the word, like trouble then lies always. There's trouble today. I'm talking about bad trouble, but it won't last always. And then you will hear a verse people say, and this too shall pass. And I believe that. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't engage in the civil rights movement, or marching for peace, or being willing to get arrested and go to jail, or to be beaten on more than one time. You have to believe, you cannot lose that sense of hope, that sense of optimism. Okay?
Hi, Congressman. I'm Jordan, and my question is, do you see any differences between the racism that you witnessed and experienced during the civil rights movement and the racism that people of color, and specifically African Americans, experience today?
Well, today there it's so different. I think people that oppose the movement, individuals that oppose bringing people together, they don't you don't see the overt signs that's saying colored only or white only, white men, white women, colored women. The signs are gone. Those signs are gone in public places. Today, the only place that you will see those type signs would be in a book, in a museum, or on a video. But there's still the scars and stains of racism are still deeply embedded in American society. And we have to use all of the forces at our command to bring down those invisible changes, unnecessary changes, those invisible signs. You probably read about what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, and when some people said, some individuals said rather, there are good people on both sides, and you saw the violence. That made me cry. I thought we were much further down that road toward the creation of a truly integrated society, a truly beloved community. So we're not there yet. So it's an ongoing struggle. Oh, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ruby.
Hi.
As someone who's been called the conscience of the United States Congress, what is it that you want your colleagues in Congress to be reflecting on right now?
We should be reflecting on seeing that every person, every citizen, every person that lives on this little piece of real estate we call America have enough food to eat, clean water to drink, and have health care. We have so much wealth, and there's some people are living very well, but then there's too many people suffering. Throughout this country, there are too many homeless people. There are people not receiving health care, not getting that education. We need to share the wealth that we have in America, not only with our fellow citizens, but with the rest of the world.
Hi, I'm Cyrus. In a past interview you said, I discovered that you have to have this sense of faith that what you're moving toward is already done. It's already happened. Can you tell us about keeping that sense of faith even when things are not looking good for your cause?
You all are so smart. You're so good. So going back and you're getting all of these things that I've said someplace along the line, I don't know how long ago, but that's good. That's wonderful. You have to have faith. You have to believe that in a sense it's already done. You're just going to leave a little print of what you attempted to do, what you attempted to accomplish. 'Cause in a sense, it's written. Maybe I am, like so many others, are picking up where others left off to realize their dream. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. Rosa Parks had a dream. And hundreds and thousands of other men and women, black and white, Latino, Asian American, and Native American, have dreams. The young lady that is speaking right now, I recognize her voice. She's a good friend. She was born and reared in Selma, Alabama. There's two young women on this committee. One is black, one is white. They both were born in Selma, Alabama. She was one of the first students to desegregate the all-white high school in Selma. She's a member of the church that we left from on Bloody Sunday. We go back there every year and we walk across the bridge. And her white counterpart lived in Seattle. And she came back, but she was born in Selma. And they connected when they both came to Congress. And it says something about history and fate coming together. Sometimes you never know how you're going to be used. If someone had told me many, many years ago that I would be in Congress for 31 years, I would say, "You crazy? You out of your mind, you don't know what you're talking about." But you have to have faith. You have to believe and get out there and realize and make the dream come true.
Hi, I'm Lucas. You said in your book, Walking with the Wind, "I believe in freedom of speech, but I also believe that we have an obligation to condemn speech that is racist, bigoted, and anti-Semitic or hateful." Can you say more about what we as citizens can do to address hate speech in our country without undermining a basic freedom?
Well, I do truly believe in freedom of speech. You should be able to speak up and speak out. But I don't think you should use hateful speech or violent speech. You may have a right to say anything, but you shouldn't use speech to harm others, to condemn others. I said to some of my friends during the height of the movement, I would say, "That's not right, that's not fair, that's not just." And then during some of the racist type that I came in contact with during the 60s, I would say things, "Your mother didn't teach you that. Your mother would be ashamed of you. You can do better, you can do much better." You probably read someplace that during the Freedom Rides in May of 1961, when I was 21 years old, 1961, the same year that President Barack Obama was born, that black people and white people could be seated together on a bus, leaving the city to travel through Virginia, through North Carolina or South Carolina, through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. We were on our way to New Orleans. We were testing a decision of the United States Supreme Court. And along the way, we were beaten in a little town called Rock Hill, South Carolina, by members of the Klan. Now this is May 1961. In February 09, a man in his 70s and his son in their 40s came to my office and he said, "Mr. Lewis, I've been a member of the Klan. I'm one of the people that beat you and your seatmate. I want to apologize. Will you forgive me?" His son started crying, he started crying. They hugged me, I hugged them back. I said, "I forgive you, I accept your apology." And the three of us cried together. I saw this man 4 other times. That is the power of the way of peace, the way of love, the power of the philosophy and the discipline of nonviolence. You have to have the ability to forgive and create a sense of community and move on.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Phoebe. What do you say to those who believe that the battle for civil rights has already been won and there is no need to continue the struggle?
Well, we won many, many, many victories. There cannot be any doubt about that. But there's still ongoing fights and efforts. But there are people today in America trying to take us back, trying to make it harder and more difficult for people to participate in the democratic process, want to change the voting laws. So in a state like my state of Georgia, come so far, made so many steps forward, so much progress. We have what we call early voting, 7 days before the election, that you register, you can go to different polling places, show your ID, and you can vote on a Saturday, on a Sunday, or during the week. But a large state like New York, that's supposed to be so liberal and so progressive, they don't even have early voting. They're trying to make it possible. But we should open up the political process and let people vote on a Saturday, on a Sunday. Just let everybody participate. And sometimes I feel maybe we should lower the voting age. I truly believe in, and I don't say it because all of you are so young, that they're going to be the young people, going to be the students, and maybe women. Because the women march and the student march against gun violence, showing the direction that we're going to move as a country and as a nation. And I met some of the students from Florida, students in my own district. I marched with them and participated in the Women's March. There in Atlanta, they asked me to lead it for them. And more than 60,000 women showed up. The student march, more than 35,000 showed up. And I marched with them here in Washington. Dr. King said on one occasion, that's not anything more powerful than the marching feet of a determined people. And we used to sing on that road from Selma to Montgomery, pick them up, lay them down. And there was a young guy, as a matter of fact, from California, who made up a little song as we marched. Said, pick them up all the way from Selma town. Pick them up, lay them down all the way from Selma town.
He looked directly at me the entire time and wouldn't break eye contact. It really made it feel personal. And when he said thank you at the end of my question, it just really touched me that he wanted us to ask those questions and he really wanted to connect with us.
The way he spoke, every time he finished a word, my heart went it was thudding with every word he said.
You guys have met a real hero. You all want to accomplish things in life. You all want to develop yourselves. You all wanted to be the best you can be. But it takes action and commitment and perseverance. And it's not something that I'll start that tomorrow. It's kind of like you have to get started. If you think you're too young to make a difference, you're not. You just have to have fire under you.
I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him and I'm trying to fully understand and realize who I'm sitting across from and listening to and interviewing and it's gonna hit later, it's gonna hit in later, but I still can't really, and especially during the interview, and I was just I was thinking this is the guy with Martin Luther King, this is John Lewis, this is, still I do know that, and it's just amazing that we got the chance to interview him.